Hi, thanks for being here. I'm just waiting for Janine to join us. Janine, yay. Janine, I have to apologize. I didn't schedule this talk. Oh, and I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Okay. Janine and I were just on a Zoom early, just a few minutes ago, and we had the same issue with the volume. I still can't hear you. I don't know if you can see the little microphone, the little speaker under your picture. Um, huh, let's see. I wish I could show you mine. So on my screen, hi, Be Kind and Garden. On my screen, there's a little microphone. There's like three icons, and one of them is a microphone. Do you have that on yours? See if you touch that. That's not doing anything. Darn. Sorry, everyone. We just need to figure out how we can get Janine's microphone working. I could take a screenshot of what I have and see if, yeah, I can't hear anything. Do you want to type it in the comment? Okay. It looks like she's going to come back. So we're going to be diving into the bathroom, and I have some questions for Janine about, as an architect, what she looks at. Like, what are some of the foundational things that, okay. Oh, re-invite me. Sorry. She just asked me to re-invite her. Okay. Let's try this again. Okay. Hopefully this will work. Ah, it says she was declined. Okay, hold on a second. I need to figure out how to do this. I'm sorry, I'm not very adept at these things. Janine. Okay. Thank you for bearing with us. I think this is going to be a really good conversation. So hopefully we can get Janine back.
Hello.
Yes, it worked.
Great.
Excellent. Okay. Good. Thanks for being patient with us, everyone. Janine, lovely to see you. Lovely to hear your voice.
Thanks. Thanks, Kimberly.
So let's dive into the bathroom. I would love to get your architect perspectives on, should we just talk about our primary bathroom, because there's the powder room, other bathrooms. Let's just focus on our bathroom, where we keep our toothbrush. So as an architect, what are some of the fundamentals that you address when creating a new space?
So one of the important things for me when designing a bathroom is natural light and connection to nature. So I know last week we spoke about the bedroom, and especially the main bedroom, where the natural light and the best orientation was not so much a priority. Whereas I find that if you can position your bathroom east facing to get some really excellent morning light and a large window. So I love putting large windows in showers that you can open. And I try to avoid doing frosted glass or opaque glass. So for me, it's really important to be able to have a clear view out into nature, and then rather make use of a window treatment, which is water resistant, to close off if you need to have privacy or you don't feel like seeing the connection to nature. But for me, often in showers, I make the window basically kind of just below shoulder height, and then quite expansive, so that you really have this connection. Because in the bathroom, for me, it's where you really connect with yourself. You're cleansing your body, you're cleansing your mind. So whether the window is over the bathtub or in the shower, that to me is one of the primary design guides when designing a new bathroom space.
I love that. I love that. And, you rarely see functioning windows in a shower. You rarely see windows in there at all. And when I designed my first house, I had awning windows in in the shower. And I think, but it was tricky because a lot of windows, like you want to the window to last a long time. And so I'm assuming that like you use a certain type of window, but I like taking a shower and being able to see outside. It was amazing. Or sitting in the bathtub and being able to look outside.
Yes.
And I think we lose ourselves, right? Like the mind, we're not thinking about all those things we have to do.
Yes.
We sort of lose ourselves in that connection, right?
Totally. And it becomes a form of meditation, connecting to nature, being able to slow down and connect with the season, you know, to be aware of your circumstances. So that's why for me, the orientation and the connection to in the bathroom is much more important than the main bedroom because of the activities that happen there. You know, so it would be, I think, often counterintuitive, and that the bathroom has to be completely closed off because you need all your privacy and it's where you're the most vulnerable and exposed. Yes, it is. And in that form, you should be connecting to nature. So obviously, if you have the opportunity to do an inside-outside shower, to have a private courtyard into which you can connect your bathroom so that you can have even larger expanses of glass, but without kind of compromising privacy, that's even better. But that connection with nature when you naked, for me, is kind of one of the primal kind of design guides that really ground you and bring you back to kind of slowing down, looking at the seasons, really just being you at your most vulnerable and exposed.
I love that. I love that. And also like with it facing east and having that morning light and then having that connection with nature, like, because the bathroom, besides our bedroom, our bathroom is where we begin and end our day. And so whatever we do to make ourselves feel better and feel more connected to ourselves and the greater world around us, the more we do that in the morning and at night, the more it's going to be used into the rest of our experience.
Totally. Yes. So yeah, that is, for me, kind of the prime drivers. And also, I mean, so the windows, if it's near on the bathtub, it should be really on the rim of the bath. So it shouldn't be a standard average height, you know. You really should be lying in the bath and having a view. So they might look a little bit odd on the outside, but I don't really care about the outside appearance of the house. For me, it's much more about the inside experience and how it makes you feel than what it looks like on the outside. And of course, we always make it look good, but like as a gut reaction, you would go like, who would want a window 3.5, less than 3 feet off the ground, you know? So it doesn't seem normal. But for when you're in the bathtub, it's just perfect.
It feels just right. It feels just right. And you know, I've had those experiences in my homes in the past, and I can totally attest. Like having a bathtub where the windowsill meets the top of the bathtub, it's amazing. And then being in the shower and being able to look out and see the outdoors. And I love that, you know, we haven't, Janine and I haven't spoken about what we were going to talk about. We just sort of jump into these conversations. And what I love, and I'm so excited about this, is that what you view in the space as an architect, and having that intimacy and that vulnerability with the connection with the outdoors. For me, the bathroom is all about vulnerability and intimacy with us, with ourselves. And because it starts there, right? Like once we can have intimacy and vulnerability with ourselves and looking in the mirror and being naked and having that connection, then it makes it easier and more comfortable for us to have intimacy and allow vulnerability in other areas of our life.
Yes. And self-love and acceptance, obviously, as well, you know? Yeah. And I mean, I think also in the bathroom, it's the one place where it's fine to touch absolutely everything, like kind of fine in terms of like society, but you touching every single part of your body and thanking it for doing its work. You know, your feet, your toes, your hands, your belly, all of these things, but really taking time. So that's why I think it's really important to make that room a really fabulous room where you feel fabulous and you can be connected and grounded, you know, in that vulnerable state.
Yes, absolutely. Like touch and creating this bathroom where it's I want to say spa experience, but I want to sort of like I'm a little bit use that word
Yeah,
because it's
yeah,
not it's the indulgent experience,
exactly.
right? Like it's this sensuous experience where yes, you touch yourself, you look in the mirror and you speak loving thoughts to
Yeah,
yourself. Like it's
exactly.
like right, like this is this really vulnerable place because if you think, and I know we've talked about this, there's a cord of intimacy as you walk into your home and where you let people go with you. And the most
Exactly.
intimate, and I know like you and I have talked about this, the most intimate is the bathroom. Like
Yes,
who's
yes,
allowed in the bathroom with you? Like we
yes,
allow our kids in the bathroom with us until they're a certain age. Some people don't allow their partner in the bathroom with them. So this speaks to like that raw vulnerability. And I love that you architecturally take that into consideration when creating the space, because the way you're talking about the physical space you create, it is almost like this is the sanctuary. Like in the whole house, the bathroom is like the most sacrosanct.
yes. Yes, and that's why it really needs to be connected to nature. So, living in Southern Africa and having traveled a lot, I mean, I've come across many bathrooms that are internal bathrooms with no external windows, which for me is, I mean, besides feeling claustrophobic, it just feels as though it's completely cut off from the world and all of my senses. So for me, yes, totally. So for me, I mean, that's one thing where windows are an absolute must in the bathroom. You know, like if it's a powder room, that to me is a different story. But your main bathroom where you are spending mornings and evenings, you know, it needs to be connected to the seasons, to nature, to light, you know, so that to me, and obviously skylights are also fabulous over bathtubs, you know, and especially for evening bath.
Oh,
So
that.
yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever been in a bathroom that had a skylight over the bathtub. I love that.
Yes. Well, I'm about to put one into my bathroom because at the moment the house has been converted. I mean, before I bought it, and it hasn't got any windows. And I'm like, I need my connection to nature. So we're putting a large skylight and splayed ceiling above the bath. So it'll be lovely. And then it kind of, some of it will go into the shower as well, with the splayed ceiling. So that's quite exciting because I think we often forget about the roof. And it's kind of like another plane that we kind of need to keep in mind. And there is that opportunity for a skylight, you know, which just kind of connects you to a whole different realm. I mean, if you think of clouds and skies and stormy weather, you know, it's just like a really phenomenal connection to air. Really, really important as well.
I love that. And you know, it seems like skylights are a little bit different in windows in the way that they sort of evoke this sense of wonder, right?
Yes, yes.
Because
And they cut out the busyness.
yeah, and you're forced to
Mm.
like take in a different perspective, right? Like take in an
Yes.
upward
And it's
experience.
a conscious action because how often do we look up, you know? So when you've got a skylight, it almost like kind of forces you to look at that other dimension, which we're always aware of because we've got the earth, we've got humans and activity, and then we've got the sky. And basically, we're living between the earth and the sky all the time. And we're much more aware of the earth than we are of the sky. So I just think that kind of incorporating that into that whole experience, it kind of adds a different dimension.
It does. It adds a little bit of like wonder and
Yes,
contemplation, right? Like it's
yes,
an invitation for a different experience.
totally. And in
Yeah.
terms of what you were saying about feeling good about yourself, I have to give one little tip in terms of artificial lighting at your mirror. So often bathrooms only have one central light fitting, and it's in the center of the room. And when you're standing in the front of the mirror, you often have a lot of shadows on your face, which is not great. So then what people often do, they do a little light at the top of the mirror, which kind of lights the mirror and your face, which is better, but then you're still getting quite a lot of shadows on your face. So the way to fix that is to add two lights, one on the left, one on the right, to fully illuminate your face so that you can also feel really good when you see yourself and not have all these shadows, you know?
I love that, because like I intuitively did that in my bathroom, but the bathroom downstairs, it was wired for just one. And when I'm downstairs, I'm like, I don't like the way I look down here. Like, why do I feel like I look better upstairs? And the light, I have a lot more windows. I have 3 windows in my bathroom upstairs too. And so just took the mystery out of it for me.
Yes. And what's quite good is they now have quite a lot of mirror designs where you actually get the light fittings that are integrated into the mirror, you know, so that you can only use one connection point, you know. So that was also, I mean, yes, you want to love and appreciate yourself, but also kind of you want to be kind to yourself. So use everything you can to make you feel like $1 million, you know.
Oh, totally. And I think you bring up a really good point, because our self-talk is really amplified in the bathroom. And I think it's practice a couple things. Like, I have a picture of myself when I was like 5 or 6 years old stuck on my mirror. And it's my mental cue that I can talk to myself in the same way I would talk to her.
Yes.
And nothing else. Like, I'm not allowed to criticize myself or be mean. And so I think it's really important just for people to be aware that we are the most self-critical in the bathroom. And so we just need to switch that up and be aware that this is actually a space for only self-love and only self-compassion, because, well, there's a lot I could say, but I think that's really important. And then one of the things that, when you brought up mirrors, what I've always done when I've moved into a home is, you know how they have like the big wide mirrors that like go wall to wall, or I always take those off and I just hang my own mirror, because it just feels better. Like, there's something sort of sterile about having a big expansive window like that. And I also learned from a friend of mine that when you go to therapy, or when you go to rehab, right? Like when you check yourself in for rehab, they don't have mirrors. Like, there are no ability. So I think that just shows like how self-critical we are, and how when you see a mirror, first check yourself in and be like, okay, no self-criticism, right?
Yes. And that's why I love the idea of putting a photograph of yourself when you were around 5 years old. I think that's just such a wonderful reminder, you know. And I mean, like, I've got 4 mirrors in my bathroom, and the one's a gold leaf frame, and the other 2 are antique. And then I've got like a little children's mirror with antlers, you know. So also kind of making it fun with a mirror, instead of kind of making it all about, oh, I need to check my skin, my wrinkles, my hair, my whatever, you know. Have fun with the mirror, and kind of really see them almost as little works of art, you know, and each one is a wonderful picture frame. So I think that's really good. I mean, the large expansive mirrors, they work when your space is quite small. So that's kind of is then quite a clever way of making your space feeling better or bigger, you know. But I think if the space is kind of quite a good size, it's really much nicer to have a beautiful mirror, which is ornate or chic or elegant or simple, but something that also uplifts you and make you love looking at yourself in this beautiful picture frame. So I think that's also a really great way of kind of making it more personal and feeling better and loving this mirror that you're looking into.
Right, because you're the piece of art, right? Like,
exactly.
You're the piece of art. And that I think is just worth noting is that if you have a smaller bathroom and you don't have windows, or if you have a small window, that mirrors are a really great way to brighten up the space,
Yes.
make it feel bigger, make it feel more open.
Yes.
And I love what you said about having multiple mirrors, different sizes and shapes is really good. And then the one thing, because I know you and I have the same thoughts about this, but I've been in bathrooms before, and my parents had a bathroom like this where there were opposing mirrors. So the his and her sinks with the big mirror wall to wall on either side. And at first, it was fun when I was younger because I felt like I was a cheerleader or a rockette, right? Like, because I could just see for eternity. But will you speak to your thoughts about opposing mirrors?
Well, the thing is, opposing mirrors, I think, is less of the issue than the opposing vanities, and the sinks. So I think that for me is more problematic because it almost signifies a separation in the relationship, whereas if these two sinks were next to each other and using the same countertop space, they would be connected and they would be unified. But especially putting them opposite each other, it already feels like a sports game where it's these two opposite teams, working against each other. So I think often, like, looking at the symbolism, what would that symbolically mean for the relationship is, for me, almost a more important question than any architectural question that goes about looking at for infinity and all of that, because I think that's kind of fun, but the fact that the two mirrors sinks are separated of a couple who's in an intimate relationship, that to me, and they're not connected, they're not unified, for me, that would symbolically be more telling, and of
what?
more concern.
Yeah, you touched on something that I feel like is really, really important, and I see it happening a lot where it's like, which came first, the architecture telling the story, or the story like getting more intense because of the architecture?
Yes.
We're at the end of our time, and so I want to value your time, but I think with that topic coming up, I think it makes sense for maybe us to schedule another chat about like the metaphors of architecture and the things that we need to be mindful of, because I've seen several marriages crumple and their architecture was telling a story of separation.
Yes. Two separate lives. We make our spaces, but thereafter the spaces make us. There's such a huge correlation. One can't divorce oneself from the space that you're living in.
Yeah.
And that's why you should really, the space is really about how it makes you feel. That for me is the primal concern. How do you feel in the space? Not what does it look like, because it doesn't really matter. If it doesn't make you feel good, it's not right.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm going to follow up with you about having that metaphor and architecture conversation, because it's something that I feel like people aren't talking about, but it's impacting lives and feelings every day, right? Like it really, it's a thing.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Everyone, thank you so much for sharing your time with us. Janine, this has been a delight as always.
Yes. Thanks, Kimberly. I also enjoyed it, as always.
Same. I'm looking forward to the next one. So
super.
I'll follow up with you soon, and have a beautiful rest of your day.
Great. Thanks a lot. See you next week.
Yep. See you next week.
Cheerio. Bye.